While 95% of Americans approve of organ donation, only 40% of eligible donors are actually registered. This pales in comparison to countries like Austria, where a staggering 99.98% of eligible people are donors. And Austria isn't an outlier. There are 5 countries that have a donor rate above 99%. So why do some countries have such high donor rates? Well, the answer is amazingly simple. Most countries require that you opt in to becoming an organ donor by checking a box. That is, if you don't check the box, nothing happens. But in countries with 99% donor rates, people opt out of being an organ donor. They have to check the box to keep something from happening. This is known as presumed consent. It's assumed that you'll be a donor unless you check the box. Now, the default option shouldn't actually matter. Either you want to be a donor or you don't. Whether you have to check a box or leave the box blank in order to make that known shouldn't actually matter, but it clearly does. So why does the default option affect people so much? Well, first, defaults can act as a kind of recommendation. If you trust the person that made the form, you're more likely to go with the default option. Second, making decisions is hard, and the default is easy. Thinking about donating your organs can be pretty unpleasant, so using the default is a fast way of getting to the other side of the discomfort. Third, we assume that the default is what everybody else is doing. If a form asks the question, "Do you want to be punched in the face?" we'd assume that the default option would be no, because most of us will probably swing that way. Only people that are different from what's normal are going to be checking that box. Fourth, and probably most powerfully, the default can change the meaning of the question by changing your reference point. From the opt-in reference point, there's 2 choices. You can do nothing, which might make you feel a little bit guilty, but since most people don't opt in, there's really not much to feel bad about. Or you can check the box and become a donor, which would make you feel like you're doing the moral thing. From the opt-out reference point, there are also 2 options. You can leave the box unmarked and feel good about doing the moral thing, same as you did before. Or you can check the box and actively choose to withhold your organs from people in need. Both reference points have the same outcome. Either you become a donor or you don't. But when opting out is required, you feel the weight of that choice far more. And this is why in countries where you have to opt out of organ donation, you find such high levels of organ donors. So what do you think? Is it moral to change from an opt-in system to an opt-out system? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.